Hi, it's Nikki here, and today I am talking about meditation and a particular style of meditation from a weekend retreat that I've just been on in Switzerland. So let me take you back to the days when I was studying nutrition, nearly 12 years ago now. When I started, I soon realized how much more I needed to know about what makes us healthy other than food. It's not just about eating well, it's about sleeping well, exercising, making sure we're not too toxic, and most of all, managing our stress levels. It was this part that intrigued me the most. So I'd never thought of myself as particularly stressed out. I've always been quite balanced. I've never suffered anxiety or been a natural worrier. But when I did the adrenal stress test at college, my cortisol levels were actually on the floor. And this happens when you've been stressed out for a while and your adrenals start to struggle to pump out enough cortisol to keep you energetic and alert. And that was why I was feeling so tired. I just thought it was about being a mum and having a career and balancing everything. So naturally, I got interested in what to do about it, and meditation seemed to be the number one cure. So I dived in. By this time I started my Happy Hormones business, I had a regular morning meditation and a yoga routine, and I was really loving it. It set me up for my busy day and it helped me stay balanced. In fact, whenever I had a break from my meditation, like we were on holiday or something, my kids would very gently remind me to get back on it because I was clearly a nicer person when I was doing it regularly. Fast forward to earlier this year, and the business is now in its 10th year. How fast did that go? And there's no doubt that I'm feeling a bit jaded. I haven't got the energy or the stamina I used to have in the early days. I am definitely a little bit more snappy and impatient. And I've got an amazing life, but I kind of have lost that real feeling of joy that I should have with the life that I've got and the people around me. So I'm scrolling one day and discover that a Dr. Joe Dispenza, someone I've been following for a while now, is coming to Europe. He's American, so this is quite a rare occurrence, and there are some tickets left. And that's also rare because they usually sell out within hours. Before I know it, I've booked a ticket. I'm not quite sure what I'm getting into because I've never been to any of his retreats, but I kind of just know it's what I need right now. So this was last weekend. The venue is beautiful Basel, Switzerland. And when I get there on the Friday night for the first session, I realise it's actually a stadium that looks a little bit like the O2, if you know the O2 in London. And it's already packed. I had absolutely no idea there would be so many people at this thing. It's sold out, and a full 8,100 people are sitting in this stadium, and they've all got there early because there are hardly any seats left. So I grab a seat in the and just sit and soak in the amazing atmosphere while I wait for him to arrive. Turns out there are people here from all over the world, some 80 countries, the furthest being New Zealand. It's just astonishing. Anyway, the music gets going and it feels like some kind of rock concert. Everyone's dancing and it's really electric. Dr. Joe appears and the place goes crazy. And now I'm worried that this kind of some kind of cult. But then he starts talking and everybody settles down for the serious stuff. And it is serious stuff. I'm a very logical person, so the skeptic in me is pretty strong. But I'm also very open-minded, having seen how holistic medicine has helped so many, including myself. And there's a ton of undisputed evidence of the health benefits of meditation, which I've seen and read myself. So I know that this stuff is good for us, both physically and mentally. And Dr. Joe's work is steeped in science. His knowledge of neuroscience and quantum physics is really impressive. And he explains it in a way that truly makes sense into our everyday lives. So he starts off with epigenetics, how our genes are influenced by our environment, and mainly by how we think. So this is how it works. Our thoughts create emotions, which then create chemicals from the brain go to the body, hormones and neurotransmitters that inform our cell behavior and switch genes on or off, depending on what those chemicals are. So when we break that down into a real life, so let's say you have a simple thought like you look in the mirror and you go, I'm looking old today, or fat or ugly, or whatever it is you say to yourself. This is one I have frequently. That triggers a feeling in your body of sadness or low self-esteem, then signals your brain to release stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, noradrenaline, which travel to your cells and then switch on genes that create imbalance, for example, inflammation, etc. The emotion of or the feeling of sadness or low self-worth then creates more thoughts about how old you look, how whatever you look, and the vicious cycle begins again. And this can go on for years, with every new thought reinforcing the emotion until it becomes an automatic program running from your subconscious. You're not even aware of it. And now, because of this, we're more at risk of imbalance and disease. And this is just one train of thought. We might have hundreds and thousands of negative thoughts or complaints every day relating to what we see on our social media, how what's happening in our lives, how our relationships are, our interactions with people, the news, work, family, our boss, our colleagues, worries about money, health, work stresses, the list goes on. Imagine all those negative loops running every single day and the impact that's having on our health. The good news is that the reverse is also true. So if we think positive thoughts like, I look good today, or I love my life, or simply being grateful for something, it then creates feelings of love, gratitude, joy, hope, etc. And that tells your brain to release happy hormones like serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. These hormones can then switch on the genes that promote health and balance. And now we have a virtuous cycle where we not only feel happy, but we are literally creating health in our bodies. The mind is totally connected to and in sync with the body in a positive way. So when we're constantly stressed, i.e. modern life, our brain is operating in high beta wavelengths, which means that neurons are kind of firing off left, right, and center as the brain perceives the stresses in our lives as threats or dangers. This is the typical fight or flight response like we had in the old days, but when we were being chased by predators. Modern day stresses are responded to in the same fight or flight system. We don't have a different system. The brain is then in a constant state of incoherence, and lots of different, you can imagine all these neurons firing off with all these different thoughts and worries that we have in modern day life. So it's no wonder that we find it hard to focus or concentrate or remember things or be creative when we're stressed. Also, when we're in survival mode, all of our energy and resources are directed to frontline emergency services, if you think about it like that. There's very little energy left for internal jobs that like rest, repair, rebuilding, and replenishment. So when we feel negative emotions and stress, such as anxiety, overwhelm, depression, frustration, anger, loneliness, unworthiness, guilt, and all of those other emotions, we're not just turning on the genes that promote disease, but we're also restricting resources designed for our digestion, our sleep, our immunity, heart health, brain function, and ultimately our longevity, because it impacts that too. And these emotions keep us stuck in the past. We end up blaming others or our environment or our circumstances for how we feel. That could be our job, family, partner, finances, past trauma, etc. And when we live according to our past stories and limiting beliefs, we get stuck in this negative loop and wonder why nothing changes. So if we can get out of that beta high stress mode and let go of our old stories and identities and limiting beliefs, we can start to create some new beliefs and thoughts. And this can then help us access happiness and health from within rather than rely on external sources. But also turn on health promoting genes and give our bodies the resources it needs to function properly every day. Now, if it were as easy as just closing your eyes and thinking a few positive thoughts, as some might have you believe, yeah, we'd all be doing it, wouldn't we? But you can't just think positively if you feel negatively. So you have to match the thought with the feeling for the body to get the message. Otherwise, nothing changes. And that's where meditation comes in, particularly the type of meditation that I've been learning on Dr. Joe's retreats. When you are truly in the present moment, you're not thinking from your past, which are your memories and your limiting beliefs, or from your predictable future, which is kind of based on your past. you're letting go of your current reality, and that opens you up to creating new possibilities. You're in kind of like a void, if you like, between the past and the future. You're in that present moment. And you get into a mental space of kind of nothing, or as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, become no body, no one, no thing, nowhere, and in no time. And this is where your brainwaves get more coherent, out of beta wavelengths into alpha, and then deeper into theta, and if you're really good at it, delta and gamma. But just getting into alpha, you can start to access your subconscious mind and send it new messages. You can literally turn on feelings of peace, joy, and happiness, whatever your outer circumstances. Phew, okay, so that was just the first evening session on the Friday. By the time Saturday afternoon came around, I was really ready to put this into action. So the first meditation gets underway. Now, I've done some meditations in my past, but nothing like this. I've got 8,099 other people in the room with me, and the energy is off the scale. A few minutes in, and my body is starting to react, because this is what it does. It wants some reason for you to stop, because this is the work. It's all about taming your body when it wants to give up. And it really did want to give up. My neck was screaming at me, my bum was numb, the seat was really hard and uncomfortable. Someone was kicking in front of me, and I was ready to give it all up and just tap her on the shoulder and say, what are you doing? But the secret of meditation is to stay with it, to ignore the body protesting, stay in that nothing, the void, and relax into it. Get past that and you'll get the rewards. And by the end of that first meditation, honestly, I was feeling really amazing. The final day was even better. From 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. it was a long day, but we really put the science into practice. And by the final meditation, the whole room was literally bursting with love and new possibility. It was incredible to witness. We heard lots of stories from people about how they had transformed their lives and their health. And, you know, there really was no doubt that this stuff works. Our inner world has so many of the answers that we're looking for. We just need to tap into it. So my weekend experience actually only really hit me on the flight home on the Monday night. For the whole flight, I literally had tears rolling down my face. I mean, I must have looked such a state to the woman next to me, but I was just feeling so much love and gratitude. It was literally coming out of my eyes. I can't really describe it other than a feeling of pure joy and peace. And now I'm back in the real world. I really want to keep hold of that. So I've committed to doing a meditation practice every single day, no exception, because if it makes me feel this good and it helps keep me healthy, why wouldn't I? So I hope that's inspired you to give meditation a try if you haven't tried it before, or just look up Dr. Joe's work. I highly recommend his books, particularly the one that I really liked was Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. You can try any of his meditations out on YouTube as well and see what I'm talking about. And his website has all the details of things like retreats and other resources. So I hope you found that helpful. Any questions, I'd be happy to answer. I'll see you soon. Take care.